Hello, friends. I'm Andrea Morris, and welcome to another edition of Spill the Wine with yours truly and Lukas Sluzar, our producer, who is pretty freaking awesome. And I really couldn't do this without you. So thanks for being here again, Lukas. Today, we are at Foreign Affair Winery, which is absolutely, I would say, one of the spotlights in this area. And I'm so happy to talk to Rene Van Ede, who is the winemaker here. Hello, Rene, and welcome to the podcast.
Cheers. Oh, there we go.
We just kind of cheers that. There we did, yeah.
That's good.
We're starting off with some bubbly, so, it's like, we're all really excited to be here. I really just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. And I'm really excited to learn more about Foreign Affair. So tell me a little bit about the history of the winery. How long has it been around?
Yes, Len and Maria Cristino were diplomats in Italy. So they fell in love with Italian wines in the 90s and then wanted to bring that love back to Ontario. So in the early 2000s, they found a plot of land up on Moyer and Tintern Road in Vineland here, which we're in Vineland, Ontario right now. And they bought and planted 40 acres of grapes, all vinifera, with a hope and a dream of making a winery. They fell in love with the Appassimento method in Italy. So that was the core, the cornerstone of making the original winery. So the Cristino started that. They sold to Corby Wine and Spirits in 2017. And then from there on, we've been under the umbrella of Corby Wine and Spirits, which is owned also on top of that as an affiliate of Pernod Ricard winemakers. So Pernod Ricard is mainly a spirits company. So we're a little odd gem in their portfolio. For North America and globally. Globally, Pernod Ricard is spirits and premium wines. So a lot of champagne, mum champagne brands as well. So that's where you know Pernod Ricard for. So we're at the tiniest little bit of that. So we're really happy to be part of that larger group because it gives us a lot of opportunity to expand upon what the Cristino started.
And Appassimento is one of the things that you're really known for at this winery.
Yes, it was the starting core of the winery. Originally, all the wines had to have a touch of Appassimento in them. Now, not all of them have to. They have to have the right, appropriate use of Appassimento is what we call it. It was a great experiment to bring that and bring it into every wine, but it didn't quite translate through to the products that we can have today. We're drinking sparkling to start with, and to find a spot for Appassimento in sparkling, they were two opposite ends of the spectrum. So just a too big a jump.
I don't think you could you do an Appassimento sparkling? I think it would be tough because you have to dry the grapes.
Yes, exactly. Yep. We could do it in the dosage where you add the sugar at the end of it, that we would add it, but also it brought through, we did do some trials with it, and it brought through tannins and things that are structurally part of dried grapes that are not part of champagne or sparkling wine.
So we kind of touched on it a little bit, but for the listener who may not be familiar with it, could you just explain what the Appassimento process is?
Yeah, Appassimento winemaking. So we're talking about the process of drying grapes. So we grow our grapes normally as we do for any wine. Then we pick them by hand. So that's part of the process is picking the perfect grapes. So we get a human eye and a human hand touches every single cluster that makes the wine. It goes into what we call drying racks, but small baskets around 10, 12 kilos. Those are all palletized and stored in a room that is temperature, humidity controlled. As well as has fans in there to move the air through. That process of drying takes around 4 to 6 weeks, depending on where we start and where we want to end. The process is all designed to remove water. It does one thing, which concentrates the sugar, concentrates the acid, reduces the amount of water in the grapes, which then increases the skin contact for the reds in particular. When we're talking whites, that's not as important. But it's drying the grapes, concentrating. So every flavor that the grape brings to the wine is concentrated.
And like enhanced, like boom, right?
Yeah, it is. As I said, concentrate. You take what we say is our perfect red grape that we pick in a season. When I make a Cab Sauv, I pick the same Cab Sauv that I make in a table wine the same day as we do our Appassimento. So we pick the perfect, what I consider the perfect grapes, and then we dry those. So yes, it definitely enhances everything on top of what we've just produced.
Cool. And how long have you been the winemaker here?
I joined Foreign Affair in 2020, actually. Yeah. So right in the fun times when it.
So you really got to know the staff and all the customers because it was such a busy time, right?
No. Yeah, it was one of those times where it was good for us to be in the back of house because, I mean, it was a beautiful growing season for us, 2020. Everybody probably tasted some of the best wines Niagara has made. So, you know, it was great timing to change jobs because my first harvest was a great one for wine anyway. So it definitely set us off with a good bang. And then, so since then now I'm in my 6th year of winemaking here.
Which was the first vintage that you produced? Was it the 2020?
2020, yeah.
Great.
I started this literally 6 years ago, basically to the day. And then,
God, it seems like so far away. 6 years, it doesn't, yeah. Time flies, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And the thing with wine is it's such a slow process of making wine. Like in my life, I've made I'm in my 23rd harvest, I think now. You know, so we only get one shot a year to do this. So it's really, you know, it's really important that we put all our energy into it and how we learn from what we do, and even changing wineries, changing methods of processing. For me, using Appassimento, learning how it worked with white grapes versus red grapes. Like there's experimentation behind there, and there's wins and there's some losses as well, and you know, in there that we've had, and that's winemaking as a general. And then we add these other layers of winemaking on top of it. In this case, being Appassimento, you know, that adds more risk, more stress, more opportunity for things to go wrong or really right. You know. So.
Do you have a favorite wine to make?
To be honest, sparkling is one of my favorite to make because it's technical. It's the most technical wine that there is. It has all. It has growing to do with it, for sure, absolutely. You have to grow grapes to make sparkling, but then once it's in the winery, it takes the most amount of effort to make a great technical wine. It has the most breadth of what you can do with it and where you can go with it in the end. And then you put it in a bottle and leave it alone for X number of years, and it's out of your control. So it's also a big leap of faith as well. Whereas our other reds, we make them, we process them, they're in red fermenters, they're 4 to 6 weeks of processing, then you've pressed them and you've got them in barrel. Yes, you've got that barrel journey, but the barrel journey you control the whole time as well. So it's a little less, you know, sort of exciting, I guess, you know, what you're going to get at the other end.
Because you can taste it as it goes along in the barrel journey.
Yes, and once it's in this bottle, yes, I can open a bottle, but I can't affect anything to do with it. I just have to pop the cork and hope that everyone likes it, you know. Hope we made the right decisions 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 10 years ago even. So that's been a learning thing for me as a winemaker. Sparkling that I made 10 years ago is very different than sparkling that I make now. And just because I've learned so much, because there is so much technical to do with it. And that's to be honest with every wine that we make. You know, we learn from terroir, vineyard sites, growing seasons, challenges of the year, how much rain we have, how much frost there is, any of the challenges we have and how we overcome it, we bring those forward every year and say, okay, this is, in Niagara, sadly, every year seems to be different. I'm from Australia originally, and when I landed in Canada in 2006, I remember talking to Brian Schmidt, and he was a good guide for winemaking for me in the early years, because one of the things he said to me was, every year's different here. Because I would ask him as a young winemaker, be like, oh, what is this vintage like? Because I could try 2004 Cabernet and be like, oh, and he could tell me about it. But then I'd be like, oh, so what's normal? And he said, there's no normal. There is just Niagara. So I took that to heart, and I've experienced that every year. And I've been making wine 20 years in Niagara, and that is the absolute truth. He didn't lie to me.
So when you were making wine in Australia, is the weather pretty much like the same there most of the time? For winemaking? Different
stresses. I'm from the Hunter Valley, so our stresses were droughts and actually it was too much heat. Drought, too much heat, burning, those sort of things. So different stresses. And just, you know, here we've had everything from cold winters, you know, to hot summers, to droughts, to too much rain, to even our extremes of heat and cold. Like we get down to minus 25 and up to almost 40 degrees some years as well. So that's a 65-degree span. You know, whereas from Australia, we have a 45-degree span. You know, so like that's a difference in extreme of 20 degrees. So those little things like that, you know, make the difference there as well. So.
And they also so much affect the taste of the grapes.
Yes, yep. And for us as we all of Niagara is sourced within between Hamilton and Niagara Falls. Like it's a very small area, and then between the two lakes. And that's, we can drive from one end to the other in an hour. So it's a small area of grapes. We're all concentrated. We've got lots of different terroirs and soils and climates and methods of growing grapes. Grapes grow even, We're drinking Chardonnay and Pinot Noir in this glass. So.
Oh, really? Interesting. It's a beautiful bubbly, by the way, listener. We are starting off with this. It's a traditional.
Yes, yep.
And it's absolutely stunning.
Yeah, sparkling's something that's new to the foreign affair portfolio. As I said, I started in 2020. We made our first sparkling traditional in 2020, along with a sparkling rosé. That is a Charmat method, which you'll see in the LCBO. We started down this path because, one, I love it. Two, everyone seems to love sparkling. I don't know anyone that doesn't. And then it is just something that works really well for Niagara. Like we've got a breadth of growing sites, but also varietals that we work with and products we make. We're very diversified as an industry. We're going to try Cabernet Sauvignon later, and we're starting with a Pinot and Chardonnay. So those are two very different things if you go to France or some of the older areas. So they're like, why are you growing those together?
Because we can.
Yes, it is because we can. You're right.
Yeah.
It's because we have those ups and downs, and not every year is the best year for Pinot. Not every year is the best year for Cabernet. And that's where it comes down to the winemakers to make our choices. And there's 1,000 different choices that you make to get to a bottle of wine.
Do you find coming from a warm weather, like a hot climate, to coming here where it's a cool climate, what do you think about the differences in winemaking?
To be honest, when I was working in Australia, I was very entry level, but also working in big corporate productions. So we were making, the wines you're familiar with on the LCBO shelves from Australia. They're under the $15 mark, to be honest. So that was more corporate and bigger winemaking. It's very similar philosophies. It's just, I think you see coming from that to coming to Niagara and the small businesses that I'm working in, we take the same quality steps here as we do in both steps. We just have to work a little harder for it. One barrel is the same as one truckload of grapes. There's work effort goes into it. It's just how you're set up. We're only set up to receive 1 ton at a time. The big winery can receive 50 tons at a time.
When you work for the big winery like that, do you have a specific, does the wine have to be made the same way constantly in order to have kind of a consistency? Because people expect that if they buy whatever brand, it's going to be that no matter what the year. Whereas here, it's never going to be the same because of the weather.
And I give those winemakers that work in big wineries, even in Niagara, the guys that work in the large wineries in Niagara are doing a stellar job of keeping consistency, even with all of our changes. And that is a skill in itself to pick from those different vineyards, blend those different batches and do that. We're much more smaller. So I have 2 vineyards I work with. We both grow a fruit as well. So I use that to augment or change some of the flavors because the flavors all come from the vineyards. So the only way to change it is buy fruit from a different place. So I use those to make us somewhat consistent. But yes, we definitely are vintage dependent.
And I think that's more fun though, because then someone said it once in one of the podcasts that every bottle is a stamp in time. Because it can never be repeated.
Yep.
And I just think that to me is what I love about this region.
Yes. Yeah, the joy of wine is, and I love that analogy as well, because it is a stamp in time. For me as well, we have all the effort we put into it at that point of time. And I love going back and opening wines that we've made before because, we're always focused on the here and now, what's in front of us. We make the wine, we put it in a bottle, and I forget about it and be like, oh, that vintage was so hard because of X, Y, or Z. And sometimes it's like, oh, I moved, I had this happened in my life, blah, blah, the rain happened. And then you go back to it and go, shit, we still did a good job of making wine.
And that's why vertical tastings are fun. When you do, and just for the listener, in case you don't know what a vertical tasting is, when you line up the same wine from year to year to year. So you can do a 17, 18, 19, 20, and that's what you call a vertical tasting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really fun because you can really see what the weather what that role played in each one of those different vintages.
Absolutely. And behind the scenes, I know every winemaker is trying to do the best for every year. So there's differences and they're trying to amplify what's good about the wine, hide what's not good about the wine, because, not every wine's equal. So that's our job once it's in the winery. We do our best job of growing the fruit and then bringing it in and translating that story to the customer.
Great. Well, let's try some of your wines, Rene, because we're off to a great start with this bubbly, I have to say.
We're going to follow Appassimento.
Oh, great.
And we're going to start with the Appassimento, Sussreserve Riesling from 2025. So this is a fresh bottling. Just bottled it last month. So Sussreserve is, okay, this gets complicated because this is an old German method. Sussreserve is grape juice reserved and then added back to wine. So that's the German method of it. So if you see a German wine with Sussreserve, we've used Appassimento grape juice from Reisling to make this wine. So we added an extra step in there. So we pick the grapes as normal. We process some of it, 95% to be honest, as normal table wine. And we save 5% of it, throw it into the drying chambers. We dry it from 17 bricks to 26, 27 bricks. So that's a huge amount of water loss, which is a huge amount of concentration. Then we take that very, very sweet juice, press that off separately, and then add it back to the wine. So as I said, it concentrates sugar, acid, and in this case, it doesn't have any alcohol because we haven't fermented it. So what it ends up with is a very vibrant, nice sugar balance between acidity, sugar, and also lower alcohol as well because we've fermented some of it, but not all of it.
And the color for a Riesling, it's just so golden.
And that comes from that drying process, that juice that we add back to it. Because of the concentration in skins, we press out as a very gentle press cycle, but it still extracts color because you've had so much time.
Because I've never seen a Riesling this color before. It almost looks like an ice wine.
Normally they would be white, very white.
Yeah, very white.
Fresh.
But this is it almost looks like a honeyish sort of.
Yeah. And that's that juice portion.
Yeah, the nose is beautiful though.
Yeah, and that juice portion saves all of those characters because it hasn't been fermented. It has a very juicy character, which you would expect. So that comes through, and then layer that on top of the normal Riesling characters that you get through. It's a sweet sour attack for it. The finish should be finishing on acidity, but my general rule of making a Riesling has been if we can have a room and half the room says it's sweet and half the room says it's acidic, means that I've done a good job. If we find that balance in the room, we're okay.
Yeah.
And that's what this wine will do for people.
Oh, completely, because you get the sweetness right away, but then you get the acidity on right in the back, on either side of your mouth. It's really nice. This is the first time I've had a Riesling like this.
Yeah, it's a very unique product, and this was our experimentation coming out of how to use Appassimento and maintaining that, going back to that core of where the winery started, and saying what's a great use to use Appassimento in a white wine. It's
the second sip, it becomes even much more approachable, I think.
And rich. And
it really does. And then you're like, ooh, yeah.
All the classic Niagara Riesling characters, and then we just layer on that Appassimento on top of it.
It's beautiful. It's such a really, really nice wine. Thank you. What would you pair that with food-wise?
Oh, I mean, I'm looking at a great cheese platter right now, so I always put it with cheese.
Can't go wrong with wine and cheese, come on.
No, but also some of the richer dishes. I'm a big fan of, food pairing, I'm going to go on a sideways tangent here. Food pairing, wine and food go together a lot of the time. Every winemaker can cook, because we experiment with those sort of things. So for me, there's two streams of food pairing. You either do like with like or like and like with not like. So in this case, it's acidic, it's sweet. I'm going to do something that's fatty that can take it and cut it. I'm going to cut through that fat. That's how I've always done it. I don't generally pair sweet wines with sweet stuff. I normally put some fat, some cream, something like that with something that's sweeter. And this has the acidity to cut through both fat and give you that richness. So like pork chops, things like those that are super rich, pork belly Asian food, that sort of stuff is where my mind goes to.
Okay, now we know what we're having for dinner.
I'm going to actually change gears again.
Okay.
And we're going to go to Chardonnay, also from 2025 vintage.
Okay.
Chardonnay also is we're predominantly a red house. We make 75% red wine at Foreign Affair. So Chardonnay, Riesling, these are not necessarily new additions to our portfolio, but additions that are evolutions and things that, we can do well and taste really good. Niagara does really well as well. So it's becoming part of our portfolio, and in whites, we definitely want to have them in there. This is a new product. It's our Foreign Affair Chardonnay. You will see this in the LCBO in the next couple of months. Black label, a couple of lovely antlers on it for those that, just to describe it. It is done fully oak fermented, all your traditional Burgundy fermentation, oak fermented, 2025, so only a very short period of time, 3 months in oak and into the barrel. But we've used a lot of new oak, new French and American oak in this, mainly American, to be honest. So a lot of bang for your buck. You're going to see this in the general list. So this is a nice big hitter. No Appassimento in this, but we have added some of those rich characteristics that come through.
That's a really interesting nose on that.
Classic Chardonnay, peach, lime, lemon, coming through, but then you get that oak characteristic overlaying it as well.
Really getting the peach on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, like barbecued peaches.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, right? I love grilled peaches.
Oh, I can't wait till peach season. When is that coming?
My favorite time of year. And then everything I make has peaches in it.
Yeah. Well, there's only like 2 weeks or whatever we do it for, right?
Right.
Niagara.
And then you're like, bring it on.
Then it becomes plum season, right? Or something, we're okay here.
Because we have like strawberry season, blueberry season, peach season.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so we're pretty lucky down here in Niagara.
Oh my gosh, I know. Like once May comes, then we're like, it's like fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. I eat so healthy for like those few months.
Yeah.
And it's back to chicken wings. No, this is lovely. Really interesting because it's rare that I get a Chardonnay that I can really taste the peach.
Yep, and this wine has been, because of our house has been Appassimento and it's big flavors, there's no holes barred with this wine. I'm not trying to be subtle with any of these flavors here at all. This is not your, Burgundy that we're talking about nuances. No, this is Chardonnay in a bottle and it tastes great.
It does. It's fantastic.
That's
and it's like for those people that are the ABCs, the anything but Chardonnay, this would be one I think you would like because it is different and it really is very approachable. That like I'm saying, that peachiness is just so strong on this. It's so good.
Thank you.
Yeah, and a 2025.
Yes, so fresh to, like I said, I said all this time in barrel. So we did all the premium things to it. That everyone else does. It just had a little bit less time because we get it to market.
But it doesn't need it, though.
Nope.
I mean, because it really is beautiful as it is. And everyone's saying that the 2025s are going to be amazing.
Yes, yep. Yeah, we have, every year is different for us, and 2025, was a great one for us as well. And, we did everything from Chardonnay to Cabernet, and they were all good, so we lucked out there.
Wow. Yeah. Listener, book your trip down here quick. Mm-hmm. Because this is amazing. I'm really impressed with this, Rene. This is so good.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, that's a new release for us and something that we're just venturing into in the LCBO.
It's really stunning. Yeah, well done.
And I will actually pour the partner to that wine is, we're talking about doing everything from Chardonnay to Cabernet, and Cabs are our main focus at Foreign Affair. Mm-hmm. So this is our 2024 Cabernet. This is also in the LCBO general list. So I've used the word Cabernet because it's a Cab Franc Cabernet Sauvignon blend. That way, it's got both of our great grape varieties from Niagara in there. This has had all, once again, traditional oak aging, oak fermentation, 24, a bit more time, not as fresh as the Chardonnay.
It won't be crisp. Well, I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. But the little pepper on the nose, it's like a blanket of Cabernet.
Very good. Yeah, the texture of wine is one of those interesting things. As a winemaker, we talk about, like, everyone, whether you have grippy, I like to talk about, like, whether it's silky, whether it's velvet, whether it's what sort of the tannin, how does it feel in your mouth? I never want to have a wine that feels like, a calico bag. Like I put that into my mouth and be like, no, thank you.
It's a burlap sack.
Exactly,
yeah.
a burlap sack. Nope.
Okay. No, this is very much like a soft, like I would picture like sitting on a couch with this nice little furry blanket wrapped around me, and that's like kind of what it feels like. And
perfect. That's what this wine is for. It's a Tuesday night. Well, Tuesday night wine, drink, open it up and enjoy it. So it's in the LCBO. It's coming soon, and it is designed to be pleasurable now. Sadly, most of our wine that people buy is bought at the LCBO and drunk within 24 hours after that. So, that's going to suit this purpose here as well. We're going to get into some wines that are not designed for that, but
this is one that you could open and I think it might evaporate.
Yeah. It does in my house. That's for sure. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, this is a drink it all and enjoy.
Yeah. It's really, 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 really beautiful. And then the legs on this are gorgeous as well. And 24, everyone said that was a great year too, but
yeah, we've been pretty lucky in Niagara the last couple of years, so we've had some good years. So touch wood, we've made it through winter. Well, we're going to change gears and go from our LCBO products and into some of our fun products now that you're going to see a taste of the winery. So this is our 2023 whiskey barrel, Cabernet Sauvignon.
Your whiskey barreled Cab Sauv is one of my favorites.
So the whiskey barreled Cab Sauv. So it is our Cab Sauv that we farm, Crispino vineyard, and then we finish it press it out, goes through normal winemaking. We put in French and American oak for around 12 months. And then we finish it in whiskey barrels. So the whiskey barrels actually come from the Pipe Creek Distillery. As I mentioned earlier, that we're part of Corby Wine and Spirits. Hiram Walker Distillery is the main distillery plant. So Pipe Creek's one of their brands. So I have a great relationship with their master blender down there, and we can swap barrels. And he takes 50 or 60 of our wine barrels and makes whiskey in our wine barrels, and we take 3 or 4, to be honest, of his whiskey barrels because it's a small batch. And we use those Pipe Creek barrels and we age the Cabernet Sauvignon in them for about 3 months, to be honest. Whiskey barrels and wine barrels, they're the same oak. Well, they're not quite the same oak, but same process as a barrel, so much different. Whiskey barrel, we talk about char, levels of char, whereas wine barrels, we talk about toasting levels. So you can imagine, just in those 2 words, there's a difference in how the oak is treated. So the whiskey barrels come through and they are well used. They've had about 20 years of whiskey through them.
You can really use a whiskey barrel for that long?
Oh, they use them for, yes.
That's crazy.
Many, many years. Yeah. They're all, as in this case, Canadian whiskey that we're using. So it's a very Canadian-centric product. The oak is American oak, actually, but it's Canadian product that's been in there. And in the 3 months, the reason it's only 3 months is because those barrels are so impactful. And our wine is not whiskey. It is so delicate compared to a whiskey. So hence that 3 months just is enough to impact nuance of whiskey, but still maintaining Cabernet Sauvignon as your first
because you
flavor.
can smell the whiskey on the nose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas like if it was a bourbon barrel, it would be different because you can only use a bourbon barrel once.
Yes.
So it wouldn't have that same effect because it wouldn't have been used for 20 years.
Exactly, yeah. I think the barrel would maintain more of the oak characteristics than does
the
whiskey.
Hint of bourbon, whereas this is like, I can smell the whiskey right on the nose right away.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
the color is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, so we've gone from a gentle one to a big wine with big whiskey characteristics, big flavors is how I describe this wine.
I think like these big ballsy wines.
Yes, it is your wine. It's a whiskey drinker's wine.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like this is always, I have to say, Rene, this has always been one of my favorite wines here because I'm a whiskey drinker myself. And so combining my favorite red wine with whiskey is like, that's a win-win right away.
Yes, yeah, and as I said, for me, it's you're tasting wine first. It's just got those whiskey overlays.
Just that little, just the listener, don't think that it's going to taste like whiskey. It doesn't. It has that a whiskey smell to it, but it's also just that slight aroma of it on the nose. But it's just so full-bodied and so it's absolutely like one of my favorites.
Thank you. Yeah, and this has Appassimento in there as well. This is a heavy hitter in our portfolio. It's got a lot of flavor in the glass. So you go back to food, like this is going to big, rich foods potentially, or sitting by that fire, later in the evening as well.
Yeah. But this is also, for me, this is always the wine that I open when I'm with people that really get wine.
Yeah.
And that really understand how they can take a sip and go, oh my God, this is so great. Because it really is. And it's a wine that I think is very complex. and really just one that you just want to sit and really gently sip and enjoy it, because it's every time I take a sip, I taste something else. And it's just so beautiful. Like, congratulations. This is stunning.
And thank you. And as I mentioned earlier that winemaking's a series of decisions to be made. And this was like, so we have this beautiful Cab Sauv. We're like, okay, we're going to put it into whiskey barrels. Was that a good decision or not? And, we started making this wine, I think 2018 was the first time they made the wine, but it was a series of experiments beforehand, and now we work directly with the distillers, and we get the barrels directly from them fresh, and it's a great partnership to work with.
Yeah, I can imagine, because it's just stunning. I can't say enough good things about this wine, and I'm going to sound like a real sycophant because...
Thank you. No, and so it's great. That's part of that ownership of we've been working with Corby and stuff, is we have that direct connection. I know that if I email the distiller and we ask for I'll have the barrels the next day. So we have good connections there, so we know our products. The barrels are fresh. The supply chain is nice and clean.
Are they a Canadian company? Or?
Yes,
okay.
down in Windsor.
Because I was going to say, man, if you were dealing with the U.S. on that, it would be
no, it's all out of Windsor.
It would be a little bit more technical at the moment, but yeah, that's great. Love this. Listener, if you come here, you have to try this, because this is one of my favorite wines ever.
Thank you. Yeah, that definitely is one of mine too. I didn't think when we started that project, I was like, whiskey barrels, how's it going to be? I like whiskey and I like wine. I was like, do I like it combined? And surprisingly, yes is the answer. I do.
What could go wrong? Yeah. I don't know. Nothing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's always things that can go wrong. That's for sure.
It's like, don't jinx yourself, right?
That's winemaking. I'm just going to move on to the top of our line and Appassimento. We're going to go 100% Appassimento. I didn't mention how much Appassimento is in the whiskey barrel, but I
how much is in there? But the legs on that are fantastic. I mean, I'm looking at the glass now and going like, geez, the alcohol, like it's just...
Yeah, as a winemaker, I never know these questions of what we've got here, but the alcohol is 14.9%. So it's a lot.
Just beautiful. But the legs are still just standing there in the glass and just dripping down. It's like, taking a picture for the listener so you can see that when you look at the... you won't be able to see it because it's not doing it well, but you'll get an idea of the fact that I'm having a great time.
The next one we're moving to is Laredita, 2023 vintage as well. So Laredita, this is our flagship wine. The wine's called Laredita Heritage or Legacy in Italian so this is really what the cornerstone of the winery was originally started with, was 100% Appassimento. Laredita is a wine that has gone through a number of iterations as different winemakers and have had their take on it. For me, it's simply the best wine that we can make from our vineyards in the best years as well. We made one in 2020, and this is the first time I've made Laredita since 2020.
Wow.
It's 23 vintage, so.
And what does Laredita mean?
Laredita is legacy or heritage.
Okay.
It's in Italian. So it's really a throwback to the Crispinos that originally started the winery. It's like, here's the wine that you were inspired by, and this is our premium wine that we're going to make. As I said, we pick the fruit as the ripe, when it's ready to be picked, and then we just take that and accelerate it.
When you taste a wine and it's so good and you just can't even speak? That's rare for me.
Fair enough. That's great. Is that a first? So yes, so it is the flagship of the winery. It is what going back to what the winery was founded on. This is our the premium wine. It has the Appassimento process in it. It has Cab Sauv, Cab Franc from our vineyards. We don't have to, as a winemaker, sometimes we set rules for ourselves. A lot of times I like to set rules and then break them as well. If it's going to make a better wine, if I put Merlot in it or Petit Verdot, I will do that. Yeah. It's really just making the best wine in every year. So far, we've had Cab Sauv, Cab Franc has been the blend, and you can see that filter down into the wines on the LCBO shelf. You can see those blends filter into having something you can buy from the LCBO shelves to the 100% Appassimento. You can see that style coming through, just ramped up just a step and a step and a step again.
So what's the blend in this then?
I think this is, I'm going to say it's 50-50, 45 of Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc. as well. All from our Cristino vineyard, because we farm our own vineyards. So for me, that's really important that I have control from what we put in the soil to what we pull off the vine every year to make our premium wine. So that's important to us because it has, ramifications of what we obviously harvest at the end of the day, but it's also how we steward the land coming through as well. So we own that land. That's my responsibility right now as part of this. So to look after those pieces of land in Niagara is a big part of making premium wine for me. So, we have a task for the land. We make wine out of the land, that it has a job. But we still have to steward it in a way that it comes through and does that job every year.
But it's interesting the difference between the Cabernet,
yes,
which is, of course, which is the same two blends, right? Mm-hmm. A Cab Franc and a Cab Sauv, and doing it as an Appassimento. It's so rich, and just there's so much more flavor. It's almost like the grapes are punching you in the mouth when you're drinking it because the flavor is just so intense.
As we sit here, I haven't actually done this tasting.
Let's do it. Because this is this one, right?
Yeah. Yes.
The first one, right? Okay. So let's.
LCBO versus what we have as our premium.
So let's do it.
And as you said, there's so much difference in the freshness and brightness and fruity and softer. You said very soft. We were talking about
very
tannins.
soft. And then going to the Verdite.
And I still think you see it texturally not soft, but complex and lots of a fine sandpaper is how I sort of say. It's got texture. Yeah. It's there, but it's not grippy.
It's not this is like I said, this is like a blanket, but this is there's something about this wine that's just it really is like punching you. The flavors are just right in your face and just so intense.
And so that's the process of drying the grapes, and that adds to all of those things. And so for us, sometimes it's about managing a beast and making Appassimento wines is making sure that we don't give you something that is too crazy, in the glass.
But some people, this might be their comfort level, just the LCBO one. And because this one is a little bit more challenging, but it's so much worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we go back to food again. And this, yes, we want you to drink these wines now, be able to drink these wines now, but they will age. And for me, aging wine is not, I'm never if you don't like the wine now, don't buy it and say, oh, it'll get better. That's not how wine works. You got to like it to begin with. If you don't like it, the bottle age isn't going to help it. And those tannins and structure will just change. It's still going to maintain its integrity, but it's going to change from some of the brighter, fresh fruits that we're getting now to more tertiary fruits. So I think as the wines age, they go through that process. And this is definitely a wine that's designed to age as well.
But this wine is just so powerful. What would you, I can't imagine, what would you pair that with? Because it would have to be a food that could stand up to this.
Yeah, we to be honest, our usual pairings that we do are sort of short ribs or things sort of fatty, but yet strong flavored, close to the bone sort of stuff.
Right.
More than maybe, you could definitely do a big rare steak if you're into that, but more those rich flavors again, that goes down the complementary sort of side of things, but also having short ribs quite fatty as well. So you've got that tannins to cut through it as well.
Yeah, well done. That's gorgeous.
That's my favorites with it anyway.
Yeah. Stunning wine, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, and not cheap, but I'm sure it's worth it. I know it's worth every penny.
Yeah, and I think Appassimento, what people don't realize is it's very similar to ice wine. It's we're drying the grapes off the vine. Ice wine's all done on the vine in the vineyard. Ice wine, you get a ton of grapes, you get 20% yield of that, so 200 litres. So that's why ice wine costs so much, because it's a fifth. You lose 80% of it. Appassimento, we lose 50% of it. So that's also what drives up the cost behind it as well. There's some economics behind all of this. We're taking perfectly good grapes that I could put into a bottle of wine, and then I'm cutting the volume in half. So my accountants love that, because I'm so I took this, it cost me $10,000, I reduced the volume, now it costs $20,000. That makes sense, right? Yeah.
I guess.
You tasted it. That's the taste is the end product. So that's where we that is why the 100% Appassimento does have a high price tag for sure.
Oh, for sure. But like when you understand the process, then and when you taste it, you understand.
Something that I find really interesting that you've brought up at the beginning and have mentioned a few times through the conversation here is that at the beginning you mentioned there's no normal to Niagara. But then what I've heard you describe and all the intricacies of all these wines is there's a design. I know at the other places we've been to, every winery has that, but no one's ever really used that word like I'm designing it for this or I'm not designing it for that. And it's really cool. And I feel like I can't help but feel like maybe as Niagara becomes an appellation, I'm curious what you think about this, coming from your experience in Australia, is that I wonder if Niagara will become a education place because, what works for Pinot didn't work for the Chardonnay. So as a wine grower or like students, you know what I mean? You're going to learn all that variance instead of going to, France Burgundy and learning just what the normal is there. You're actually going to learn all the variety of happenings. And then you could go anywhere around the world with that potential knowledge. I don't know. What do you think about that?
You picked up a great point. Like I actually work with Brock University and outreach with their industry outreach stuff with actually Fizz Club, which is sparkling focused for educational reasons, but it's also industry driven. But going to your point is like Canadian winemakers coming out of our universities, our colleges and stuff are going to be some of the best in the world. So, like, the sad thing is, like, they're learning here and they're getting exported now, I was an export from Australia. Now we're exporting Canadians to make wine, which is great.
Yeah.
Which is great. To pick up on that point as well. Yeah, and we did start the conversation as, like, I'd listening to the podcast and saying how all our winemakers in Niagara have so different points of view, but we all make the same products, but yet we have our nuances, our directions, and how we nurture the grapes that we have through the different places. And yeah, I always start with a plan. Like I've never been able to build something without knowing where I'm going, and I can't get to McDonald's without knowing there's a McDonald's somewhere else, like where I'm going is important. So, we do have our gems that we find and get surprised, but if we're surprised, that's also the problem sometimes.
You remind me of a quote my brother would say, and I'm being haunted by it because he would say it to me when I was young, but which is that no one plans to fail, but people fail to plan.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. And ever since then, it's haunted me in such a good way, though.
It's also what I think is, like when I initially started this podcast, it's because wine seemed to be so unapproachable to so many people. Like when I would invite people for wine tasting, they'd go, I don't know anything about wine, I can't come. But wine is a journey and you learn about it and you don't have to be intimidated by it because your personal journey is different than mine. My taste buds are different than yours. And what I like, you're not gonna like. And so it's all about you discovering what your path is. And this is what we're doing. And as winemakers, you're also different and you all have these different paths. And it's like, it's so much fun to sit with everyone individually and find out where your path is.
Absolutely. That is one of the beauties of wine is like we all have different tastes. Like as I said, and you've focused on before, we work together as an industry very well. I could have a glass of wine or a beer or a whiskey with any winemaker in Niagara very easily. And we can talk about our problems where if we have issues if we grow in seasons, we all have the same issues. We all have those, so we can overcome them together. So I love about the industry here.
It's so supportive.
Right. It's so supportive, and we're all making wines that each consumer can enjoy differently. You may not love our bigger Appassimento wine. You might go for something like a Pinot, but that's great. That's the point of having so many wineries, so many vintages, so many winemakers making different iterations of Niagara wine.
So we've got one more to go with you.
Yeah, so I've gone from 100% Appassimento in red to 100% Appassimento in white.
Ooh.
So we've gone actually full circle almost back to the Riesling that we started with.
So we went from the Sussreserve to a Riesling Appassimento.
Riesling Appassimento. So this is the same juice that was in
The Sussreserve.
The Sussreserve, but we fermented
I want to call it Sussreserve, but Sussreserve.
It's a tongue twister.
I'm changing the name.
Tongue twister?
Sussreserve. Yeah.
It's a tongue twister, and, we have the Laradita beforehand.
Rene's trying to mess with me.
I undid my tongue at the beginning of the thing. I got twisted up, and now it's
your
good.
Your beard is all twisted up, so that's...
So Appassimento Riesling. So we've taken the Riesling, dried it through, but this time we've taken it and made wine out of it. So it's very, very similar to ice wine. It's not ice wine, but it is a sweet dessert wine style, around 10% alcohol, around that 100, it's about 100 grams of sugar. Like, it's on the sweeter side of things, but it is our version of ice wine without being ice wine. And it's the 10% alcohol as well. So... So we leave the residual sugar in there. So we've had a wine that could produce a 15-16% Appassimento wine, as we've had there, but then we've fermented only 10% of the alcohol to stop the fermentation, kept that sugar, kept that brightness, kept all that acidity, and then bottled it as a dessert wine, a sweet wine as well.
Yeah. It's not, I'm not a huge fan of dessert wines a lot of times, but it's very smooth. And really, like, if you like sweet wines, this would be like right up your alley.
Yeah, for me, and then you've probably heard many winemakers talk about the balance of it, as this is in balanced wine. It's meant to be sweet, but it also has the backing of the acidity, because as we dried those grapes, the acid went up as well.
Yeah.
So everything went up in the process, sugar, acid, and so that's why we stopped it. So would have said so early would be the case, because this could have been 15% alcohol Riesling. Yes.
I'm like,
you didn't see that the scale there, but yeah, it could have been.
Could have been, yeah.
We stopped it.
Yeah. It's but it is a really lovely dessert wine. It's a nice way to end a meal with a sharp cheese.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be like really nice.
I had it with a lemon tart and the other day, which was that like pairing that I'm not so fond of, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this.
I bet this would work with key lime pie too.
I wanted some meringue with my lemon tart.
See, there you go. We'll have to do dinner sometime, Rene, because we're on the same page here. Well, your wines are absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
Like, I would say, listener, a trip to Foreign Affair definitely has to be on your list, because the wines are magnificent, and the winery is beautiful, and it's absolutely a joy to be with you.
Thank you. Yeah, we're a little hidden gem here down in Vineland.
Yeah, you are. But you know what? I have to say I've never been disappointed coming here. And again, not disappointed. Your wines are spectacular. Thank you, Rene, so much for taking the time to visit with us today. And listener, you will see photos of all these bottles and some of the glasses on our website. So be sure to visit our show notes, where you will see those as well. And also the website, which is spillthewine.ca. And you can visit the website and hit the contact at spillthewine.ca and send us a little message. Tell us what you think about the show. Give us some ideas of where you'd like us to go. And we've been getting some really great suggestions from listeners, so I will be exploring them. Thank you for all of those. Don't forget to like and follow Spill the Wine on Facebook. We are Spill the Wine Podcast. And on Instagram, it is _podcast. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, tell everyone that you meet that they should listen to this podcast and come to the Niagara region and discover just how amazing the wines are that are here, because you will not be disappointed. I guarantee you there's something for everybody. Rene, thanks again, and let's say cheers. We'll see you next time.